Hey Bulldog Gardeners, it's Miss Sarah. I'm here in the school garden. I'm so excited to start the year off doing distance learning with you all. We have a different way we're going to get you the garden lessons this year. We are going to shoot videos for you about every 2 weeks, and we will send those with the accompanying worksheets and assignments for you to do at home. If you'd like to, you can go ahead and get your garden map. To start off our very first garden lesson, I'd love to give you a virtual tour and let you see how everything has been doing since we were last together. Our garden looks wonderful right now for the height of summer. So we're right here by our first bed. In this bed, I've got eggplants and peppers. One great thing about these peppers, you guys might remember our pizza garden project last year. For our pizza garden project, remember, we all planted seeds together that were different things for the ingredients to make a pizza. Last winter, everybody planted or sowed their seeds inside in February. And then we watched our baby plants sprout or germinate in the trays inside in the lobby. Then we moved our baby plants out to the garden or transplanted them in April. They've been growing out here late spring and summer, and we have begun to harvest or gather our crops in July. So this is an example of the peppers that our first and second graders started last year with the pizza project. So good job, guys. Excellent job, first and second grade. Now let me take you over towards bed number 2. In bed number 2, we have cucumbers here at the front part. If you'll notice, we have a special structure you might remember is called a trellis. So we have supporting structures or technology for some of our vining warm weather crops like cucumbers. Here sharing the cucumber bed, we've got some wonderful okra plants, which are great for the hot part of the summer here in Oklahoma. So we're having a wonderful okra harvest right now. Let's take you over toward bed number 3. Bed number 3, we've got some tomatoes that we put in just a little later, because this is where, if you'll remember, we had our garlic coming through the winter. We harvested this over the summer in June. So when we took our garlic out, we've changed this over to a later tomato bed in bed number 3. Then bed number 4 here is our melon patch. We have cantaloupe and watermelon, and we have already been harvesting, I would say, 6 or 7 melons. So our melon patch is doing fantastic. In the back, you'll see a line of sunflowers. Those are actually edible sunflower seeds that we just harvested. So we have a ton of sunflower seeds that we grew right here in the garden. That's a great summer crop. Let's go over toward the other side of our garden. Let's go past our shade structure where we learn. Our strawberries are doing great, you all. Strawberry patch is doing fine. Here, I've got another of our pizza garden crops. This whole bed, almost, of bed number 5, is filled with tomatoes. Last year, the kindergarten planted tomatoes. So if you are in first grade this year, these are the tomatoes that you all planted, and they have just done amazing. Great job on your contribution to the pizza garden. Also sharing this bed is a lovely variety of basil. Basil is the herb for our pizza sauce. And that was planted last year by our 3rd graders. Smells fantastic. Then coming down the hillside here, I've got onions. These were planted by our 4th graders. They're on to middle school now, but they've left us the gift of their onions. They did great on their part of the pizza garden project as well. Then we've got another vining plant that looks really similar to the cucumbers. It's our Gourd Patch. And if you can see this, it is growing all the way up the trees, up the sunflowers, and over the back towards a trellis that I'll show you around the back side. So our gourds are doing fantastic. Here's our Three Sisters bed, you all. It's doing really well. Remember, our Three Sisters is our native planting style. We have our tall corn stalks in the middle. Then we have our beans. Our vining beans grow around the corn. The corn is its trellis. And then we're filled in all in the bottom with squash. Let's go ahead and check out our pollination area, and we'll go up our nice little path up the hillway. Pollination area is doing great, guys. Remember, we like to plant vegetables and fruits, but we also like to keep certain spaces in our garden for our pollinator friends, our bees and our butterflies. We've seen a ton of pollination activity. So let's go up our little pathway up towards the top. Here's our container garden area. We've got some lettuce and some decorative flowers, some nice herbs, and kind of a sensory garden. Check out our asparagus patch in the back, guys. It's doing awesome. It stays all season and keeps coming back just like our strawberries do. Okay, let's go down the sidewalk and check out everything from the top to finish up. This is some great areas for our pollinator friends also. Okay, here's the back of our gourds. Remember, they were climbing up over the sunflowers, and here they've got a trellis here in the back. If you'll notice, there's something special about gourd plants. These were also on our cucumbers. This is an example of a tendril. A tendril is a thread-like appendage that comes off of a vining plant. Then it tries to find a trellis to support itself, and it curls in a spiral circular fashion to provide strength and structure to the plant as it's growing. This is a great example of some tendrils doing some work here on our trellis. Your garden is just doing absolutely fantastic. Everything we have growing now that you just saw is in season. Remember, it's the height of the warm season, so every vegetable that you saw is what we should be harvesting and eating at the peak of its season right now. It's in season. Thanks for coming on the tour of the garden, Bulldog Gardeners. I hope you can imagine what it looks like, and we can't wait to see you and we can spend time together in the garden again. Okay, Bulldog Gardeners, I hope you enjoyed our tour and you can start to visualize what the school garden has been doing all summer. So for our lesson part, you can see I'm sitting here where we do our lessons a lot. And today for our first lesson, we want to talk about the difference between climate and weather. Those concepts are actually two different things. The weather is like a short-term change. It's what's happening that day. It might be rainy, it might be sunny, it might be windy. And you can think about that as, well, what should I wear today? I'm going to dress for the weather. And then climate is how weather is and what the patterns weather does over a long period of time in your region or where you live. So you might think about that as, what types of clothing should I have in my closet? Maybe I have shorts and shirts or jeans and sweaters, and that's because you dress for the different seasons. You know, your climate in Oklahoma is hot in the summer and that it is cool in the winter time. And if you remember, just like our pizza garden crops, and remember, you know, all crops are divided into warm weather crops and cool weather crops. They grow according to the climate. Weather stations is another topic I want to talk to you about, and that is going to relate to your assignment today. A weather station is a group of instruments gathered together outside that tells you and records information about the weather. We are getting ready to build a weather station here in the school garden this fall, so that's something that you can look forward to when we're able to return. We've got a couple instruments to tell you about that are common in weather stations. We have thermometers like this that measure the air temperature. We have rain gauges like this that measure precipitation. And we have weather vanes or windsocks shown like this that measure the wind's direction. Those are some common instruments on weather stations. Now, for your assignment this week, we have a couple of parts.
First, there is a Google Slide assignment for you to complete and turn in. You can use the link provided to complete a short activity on the interactive Google Slide about what you've just learned and seen on the video. It's a great idea to go through this short task right after you've watched the video, so the information is still very fresh in your mind. Second, you'll be observing the weather over time and recording your data in your garden journals. There is a link to a Google Slide which has the first grade weather observation sheet attached. It will show you how to set up your table in your journal with areas to record temperature and rainfall each day.
We've got a couple instruments that if you have on hand at home, you can use. You can also always go to the Oklahoma Mesonet weather website, and that has all that information recorded. You are welcome to copy it down from there. If you would like to go outside and make your own observations, you can use an outdoor thermometer if you have one like this. We also have instructions for you to make your own little rain gauge if you would like. You just need household items on hand, like a wide mouth jar, a ruler, and a Sharpie, and you can mark off and set out and observe any amount of precipitation and record that on your weather observation sheet as well. I've enjoyed so much our time in the garden today, guys. I'm so happy to get back to school garden lessons with you, and I hope to see you in the garden again very soon. Enjoy your weather observations.